Going back to the issue of delegitimization, I promised to get back to it, and recognizing Israel as a Jewish state. The two key issues that were brought up by Obama, which makes them much more important now. It's no longer just Israeli Hasbara propaganda, it's the President of the United States now saying that the US will stand with Israel against delegitimization attempts and will secure Israel as a Jewish democratic state. The issue about delegitimization is very interesting because only when it comes to the boycott against Israel where this is brought up. In no other boycott campaign is it brought up that a boycott delegitimizes the existence of any people. So boycotts against South Africa did not end the existence of South African whites. It did not delegitimize their existence. Ending apartheid did not kill anyone and did not end the existence of anyone in South Africa. In the southern states of the United States, desegregation did not delegitimize or end the existence of the white majority there. It ended segregation. I mean, that's what it delegitimized. Racism, institutionalized, legalized racism. Only when it comes to Israel does a boycott against a state because of its occupation and apartheid policy and denial of basic rights considered delegitimization of the entire state and a threat to the very existence of the Jewish people. So this double standard only comes to the fore when it comes to Israel. What exactly are we delegitimizing in the BDS movement? So let me talk a bit about what the BDS movement is calling for and what exactly is it possibly delegitimizing. The BDS call, which came out in 2005, had very clear principles, very clear rights. Three, actually, rights that we keep repeating that said we are calling for boycotts, divestments, and sanctions until Israel abides by its obligations under international law by, one, ending its occupation, 1967 occupation of Arab territories, including the Golan Heights, including removing settlements and the wall and so on. Two, ending its system of racial discrimination and granting full equality to its non-Jewish citizens, so ending its apartheid, basically. And third and foremost, the right of return for Palestinian refugees in accordance with UN Resolution 194. Now, in the Israel lobby milieu, the BDS call was like a call for war. So they started using very much war language to describe BDS. But what really worried them is this call for full equality in Israel. We were faced with so many people who said, you know, we understand ending the occupation bit, the refugees bit we understand, we're against completely, but we understand it, it's clear. It's that second demand, that full equality in Israel that really scares us because you're not being honest, they say. Why don't you come forth and say you want to destroy Israel? Actually, this was a question that I was asked in 2005 in Manchester in the United Kingdom. That calling for full equality, you want to destroy Israel? So my response, which is in the book, and I've always said, is if equality destroys a state, what does that say about that state? And the right of return, which is very problematic for some, especially the more soft Zionist types. They say, okay, we understand the fight against occupation and we support Palestinian rights, but you know, we can only deal with the occupation bit. The other two rights, we don't know, it's too much for us. People who say that are in fact not in solidarity with Palestinians. They're in solidarity with themselves, or they're defending Israel as an apartheid state. There's no other explanation. Because if you're in solidarity with Palestinians, 1/3 of the Palestinians are in the occupied territories. 2/3 are not. So you can't be in solidarity with 1/3 of the Palestinian people and against the basic rights of the other 2/3 and claim to be in solidarity with the Palestinian people. What you're actually in solidarity with is to maintain Israel's apartheid system. Get rid of the occupied territories, not the land, the people on them, 4 million, and keep as much land as possible. So get rid of 4 million Palestinians to maintain Israel as an exclusionary Jewish majority state. Maintain its apartheid nature. That's what people calling only for ending the occupation are really defending. And it's time for this to end. If you want to be a human rights activist and to be consistent, you should defend the human rights of all human beings, irrespective of their identity. As far back as 1968, right after the 1967 occupation of the West Bank and Gaza, the very famous Jewish American writer I.F. Stone reflected on the Jewish double standards in the Jewish community on Israel and racism in the West. He said, quote, "Israel is creating a kind of moral schizophrenia in world Jewry. In the outside world, the welfare of Jews depends on the maintenance of secular, non-racial, pluralistic societies. In Israel, Jewry finds itself defending a society in which mixed marriages cannot be legalized, in which non-Jews have a lesser status than Jews, and in which the ideal is racist and exclusivist." End of quote. Had Stone lived through our days, he would have seen many, many more indicators of this description of Israel as racist and exclusivist. But he would have also been proud that many Jewish groups are no longer stuck on the fence. Many of them have jumped off the fence and supported Palestinian rights. Thank you. Support Palestinian rights.